for that vein of candidates' specifics. So, your websites and debate responses often focus on general qualifications and opinions. Please give us one specific example of how you would change how Arlington government operates without referring to dog parks, bus shelters, the Columbia Pike streetcar, or the aquatic center. and while you're at it, one specific action you would take to increase or decrease revenues because of the reduction in business taxes.
1 minute.
What?
It's 2 questions, but you'll show us your skill.
2 minutes?
1 minute.
1 minute.
Can the moderator use the mic so we can hear the question?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I was just depending on my lungs. I apologize. I said there was a great craving for specifics in the questions, and there are 2 which we are merging into 1. Please give us one specific example of how you would change how Arlington government operates without referring to dog parks, bus shelters, the Columbia Pike streetcar, or the aquatic center, and because of the reduction in revenue from businesses in Arlington, what is one specific action you would take to increase revenues or decrease expenses?
These different examples in my head, and I was going to throw out some of the ones that you had. I was just trying to think here, because those were the ones that were off limits. I think actually, as far if you want to get to the question of how I would change how the government operates, it really goes to, I think, the county board needs to get out a lot more. And basically, you know, whether it's individual door knocking, you know, they say that incumbents don't knock on doors or whatever, but one of the things some of the commissions are doing, which I think is really impressive, is actually move the meeting around the different parts of the county. And I've gone to some of these with some of the commissions. The Disability Commission, I think, has really been leading on this one. And they used to actually do walking town meetings. And being sort of a wonk about this, I'm an accountant by day, but as a wonk, I would go on these walking town meetings. And there would be people coming out of houses to see what all this mob was about and asking people, the county board firsthand about things. And that was just absolutely fantastic. So it's really more out in the community. And I guess I didn't get to the other part. I should have gone for the 2-minute thing. Yeah.
Okay, so let me take the second part first. Specific revenue generating ideas. The county has often looked at the development community as a cash cow. But we've also placed their contributions that come from development for things like public art, affordable housing, things that I certainly support, but those don't represent the sum total of needs that we have in our community. Our needs right now certainly focus on strengthening the commercial sector, and you can see a lot of room for developer-invested community benefits to subsidize retail space in many of our vacant retail spaces in the county, or subsidize the build out to let small entrepreneurs get a foothold and start generating substantial business activity where we're stagnating. That's on the revenue side. In terms of a specific example of something that should be done differently, this is, I think it's specific, but it's really comprehensive. Our entire public participation process is absolutely broken. Until we acknowledge it, we're going to fail. We need to actually have people who are experts at public participation who design a strategy for how we're going to do that, because it is a central reason why we are losing faith in the community.
The one thing that I would do right off the bat is expand the county board's communication office. It needs to be professionalized. And it needs to be professionalized in such a way that we, as citizens, understand the intent of the county board's vote and understand what they think is going to be the result of their votes and how they would like us to perceive Arlington's direction due to their votes. This would mean an executive summary, perhaps, after the meeting, publicized to all of us in easy-to-digest form. We're a pretty smart group here. We can read an executive summary, I believe, and would certainly help us to understand the principles the county board is operating under, their wishes for our future, and their wishes for us to join them in building our future.
I'm glad this question follows on the heels of the county manager question, because the board is somewhat limited, right, in what it can do for greater inclusiveness in terms of what it can literally do, which is, I think, what Craig's asking here. So what I would literally do, and literally do differently, is to use the lever of the board appointment process to commission ad hoc advisories to ensure that they really do represent all of Arlington. I would not have, for example, a joint facilities study on the county board and school board side that was not comprised of at least a few young families, at least a few renters, to bring perspective to the answer to that question of when will millennials start having kids, and what would that mean for our school facilities needs? That's part of my theory of change of why I'm running and what I want to do. And I don't think that we can get to the best solutions without deliberate representation of all of Arlington in our civic processes. And I will use the lever of the board appointments process to do that. Briefly, you asked about budget decisions, how we would incentivize, I think, economic growth. I mentioned in my opening statement about childcare affordability. That, I think, is something we can tackle with a non-dollar solution like inclusive zoning. It's good for business because it helps families become more competitive workforce participants.
I am very tired as a citizen and as a leader in our community.
It's off.
I'm still very tired. I'm very tired as a citizen and as a leader in our community and as a parent that you hear conversations in the county happening on a consistent level where we can't do something there because that's a school asset, or you can't do something there because that's a county asset. From day one, I do not view these as different things, as different properties that can be thought of differently. We have to be thinking about our school capacity situation holistically. That's my number one thing that how I would look at things differently. In terms of specific things, I would have fully funded Arlington Economic Development and Victor Hoskins' budget request. You do not grow your economy by cutting. The county board gave them 50% of his $3.5 million increase. I would have supported the entire increase. He has great plans, and I do believe that we can grow this economy. We can fix our vacancy rate. We can fully fund our schools and the growth of 1,000 students per year if we aggressively grow our commercial sector. But you can't do that by cutting.